I welcome you, dear viewer, to the full version of this wonderful story. First of all, I want to say that the full version is already uploaded on our Patreon from the very first part, and you can join our community so that more stories will come out with no censorship. The story itself really fascinated me with its inti-rajams and new moments in love for people that I wouldn't mind realizing with me second half. Of course, if I had one. But okay, here, not the point. The main thing is that you, my dear viewer, everything was good, and you were always in the comfort and care of your loved one. And now enjoy the story, and have a nice viewing. Give it to you. Chapter 1. I was doing a little shopping, picking out a few things, when I noticed her. Tall, deceptively tall. The 2-inch platform and 6-inch beige heels were too big for her condition. She stumbled as she walked beside her husband. The bewildered man looked at his wife's wobbly gait as she walked beside him. She stumbled slightly from time to time, her knee buckling outward, her leg twisting. She looked drunk, and I wondered what she was doing shopping like that. I figure she's in her mid-30s. Nice body. I happily followed them down the aisle to admire the view. I lost sight of them, skipping down a few rows to get to the frozen food section. I had just had time to load the basket when I felt a heavy weight on my arm. There she was, pressed against my bicep, the smell of alcohol overpowering anything else she might have been wearing. I hunched over the basket, leaning on my elbows as I walked. She bumped into me and clawed at me. "I'm sorry, baby. I'll make it up to you. I promise. I'll make you feel amazing," she whispered, her head low and pressed against my shoulder. I looked around and didn't see the other half of her company around. I don't know why, but I didn't try to convince her that I was her husband. I walked slowly, the clatter of her uncomfortable shoes outpacing my quieter footsteps. "Don't be angry," she said softly. At the end of the aisle, I saw the back of her husband, who seemed to be looking for something. I guessed what it was. We walked over and I stopped next to him. "You seem to have lost something," I said, grinning. His eyes widened, and I thought he was going to have a seizure, but then his features softened. "Dana," he said softly. She looked up at him and smiled, a big, stupid, drunken smile. She was still clinging to my hand and didn't seem to notice the inconsistency of her actions. It was a strange scene. He stood with his eyebrows raised, waiting. Dana leaned against me, her hand resting on mine, smiling at her husband. I stood quietly, not wanting to be part of the big scene. "Can we go home?" she said. He started giggling as I pulled her hand away from mine and steered her toward her husband. She took half a dozen tiny wobbly steps and clung to him for support. I don't think she was even aware of my presence. Then I realized what his wife's problem was. We were very much alike, both about 6 feet tall, probably 190 pounds or so, broad build, dark hair, fairly short, white polo shirts, jeans. From the back, it was easy to see how wrong she was. I was an inch or so taller, but otherwise remarkably similar. "Sorry about that," he said, turning his wife to face me. I saw her upside down for the first time, and for a moment I was stunned at how beautiful she was. She squinted at me, and her pretty little nose and forehead wrinkled in confusion. "The birthday celebration started early. I'm going to beat those friends of hers," he explained. Dana looked back and forth between us, then leaned her head against her husband's shoulder. "Please don't be angry," she wheezed. "We broke up and I decided it was over. I'll have a nice little story to tell at work on Monday." In the parking lot, I walked to my car. There was an empty space 2 steps from my car, and as I walked by, I heard crying before I saw anything. She sat on the ground, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her posture was not very modest. I stopped and pulled her down to get her to her feet. She lifted her head and threw herself into my arms. "Don't leave me, Gary. Forgive me." "Shh," I said, holding her upright. "I'm not your husband. Where did he go?" She looked up into my face, squinting. "You!" She purred and ran her hand over my face. I dodged and shook her lightly. "Stop it. Why did you get me into trouble?" She whined. "I didn't do anything." She began to cry. "Dana, where's your husband?" repeated I. She shook her head. "He left me," she sobbed. She looked up at me again, her eyes filled with confusion. Do I know you? Come on, I'll take you home. You're in no condition to stay here alone. She agreed, which tells you how drunk she was. She let me carry her on my arm and held onto it for the entire 20 feet it took to get to the car. I let her into the car, fastened her seatbelt, resisting quite reasonable urges, and drove out of the lot. Where do you live? After a few tries, she gave me the address. They were new to the neighborhood, only about a mile from my house. My GPS gave me the directions I needed, and I listened to her whine about the situation for the few minutes it took to get her home. Don't give my things away, she pouted. I left them at Cherie's this morning. I was in a hurry to get home. They wouldn't let me go until I finished my celebratory cocktail. It's not my fault. Birthday shots? 28. At night I made 17. Then they beat me with pillows. Did they beat you with pillows last night? She struggled with the seatbelt and unbuckled it. She turned her butt toward me. This morning. I didn't do anything with anyone, and they just beat me with pillows. Did they hit your back with pillows? She sat back down to her normal posture. Carla. She started and the others didn't stop. 28 each. All 5. She crossed her arms, pouting. Going to get them back. I'm in trouble. The image of it all just thrilled me. I pulled up to her house, but the driveway was empty. Are you sure this is where you live? She nodded. Know my house, she pouted. I got her out of the car. I walked her to the door, and after watching her fumble with the keys for a minute, I took them from her and unlocked the house. Stumbling, she walked over to the couch and fell to her hands and knees. I picked her up and laid her on the couch. You're a good guy, she said softly, making herself comfortable. What's your name? Jack, I laughed. What's so funny? You showed me your ass and just now asked me my name. She grinned. Naughty boy. Want me to make you feel good? Of course you are, Dana. You're gorgeous, but it's not going to happen. I promised. I can do anything. She closed her eyes and spoke softly. She would pass out before she could finish her sentence. Besides, I'm not the type to take advantage of a drunk woman, especially not a married one. Not after my personal experience. No way. I can, she whispered. Is my birthday. She practically sang the ending. Damn, she was cute. I took an Afghan from a nearby chair and covered her with it. Leaning over, I kissed her forehead. Happy birthday, Dana. She smiled at me, already half asleep. I was torn between keeping an eye on her and leaving while I had the chance. The decision was made for me when her husband walked in through the kitchen. Dana, he shouted. She's on the couch, I said quietly as I approached him. He stopped. Whether because of my comment or my presence, I wasn't sure. I saw him blush. You brought her home? I nodded. Couldn't leave her there. Not in her condition. She got out of the car. She was screaming. Ran between the cars. Yeah. Told her she could walk home. But I didn't want her to. It was stupid. I just wanted her to calm down. That's it. Calm down. I got to the end of the row and waited. She never came back. When I got back to where I left her, she was gone. I drove up and down every row, checked the entrance. I even paged her. I thought I'd lost her. I didn't know what to think. I've never been so scared. I could see how upset he was. She didn't even have a purse. She was in the car. I couldn't call her. I was scared to death. It's all right now. She's lying down. I didn't do anything to her. I hope you believe that. He nodded. I guess if you did, you wouldn't be here. Probably at your house or a motel. I really screwed up, didn't I? It's not for me to decide. I've screwed up enough myself not to judge others. Did she tell you about last night? Her sorority friends. Take her out on dates to get her drunk and get laid. Mean. I shook my head. 28 shots in 28 years. 11 this morning, when she was still probably half confused last night. She told you all this? Yes, she swears she doesn't spin. I believe her, though I guess it doesn't matter. Pretty incriminating, drunk as a skunk and red as a beet. Did you see that? I saw the anger build up. I decided to embellish the truth a bit. She was sitting on the sidewalk, her dress half pulled up. I'm sure she didn't realize she was showing the world the results of her party. Damn. Yeah, that looked pretty bad, didn't it? I nodded out of decency. I need a beer. You want a beer? I'm going to have a beer, maybe a 6-pack. It's a strange situation. Come on, give me that much. It's weird. Sure, why not? We took the beer into the living room, and he sat down on the couch next to his wife. I sat across from him in their love seat. We formally introduced ourselves to each other, talked about the neighborhood, and the fact that they had just moved in. Very strangely, we talked for half an hour, while his gorgeous drunk wife lay passed out. It's a good place to be. I moved here almost 5 years ago. It wasn't much more than farmland back then, I said. She snorted and turned around. He pulled her onto his lap, stroking her. Personally, I would have taken off her shoes, but he seemed to enjoy touching her feet in those insanely high heels. He shook his head. She's not in control of herself when she gets like this. I shouldn't have agreed to her going out with them. When they get together, it's bad. Tell me about it. I had a girlfriend a few years ago. Everything a man could dream of. Kind, beautiful, loving. After about half a dozen drinks, she'd have a moment when she'd lose all inhibitions. Jumping in the pool, kissing all our friends, dragging me to the bathroom to do something nice in the middle of the party. I sipped from my mug of beer, reliving old, painful memories. Unfortunately, one day, somewhere after 10 drinks or so, Linda forgot who her fiancé was and got something bad for it. She tried to keep it a secret, but within a week, everyone knew. All our friends, ruined 2 marriages, humiliated me. I never heard the end of it. After that, I left her and moved back to Texas. I couldn't trust her. She swore she would quit drinking, but I was young and unforgiving. I couldn't forget what she had done. Too bad, I thought she was the one. The love of my life. He nodded, and I saw that the Afghan had slid down. That's exactly right. I want to trust her. I love her to death. But when she's drunk, you've seen what she's like. Add to that those college girls, and who knows what's going on. I wouldn't be surprised if they took over the whole bar, and my wife was the main attraction. I'm not doing anything like that, she said, trying to raise herself up a little. She put one foot down on the floor. Are you sure? Her husband asked. She furrowed her brow, concentrating. Pretty sure. Someone kissed me. Maybe a few. But we left. She grinned. I told them I was married. Didn't take off my ring. I'm a good girl now. Gary still had his hand in that very spot. It was weird as hell. Are you a good girl now? He asked. I saw his smirk. She nodded, a drunken smile lighting up her face. Yes, just my wonderful husband. She reached down and covered his hand with hers. Naughty hubby. In the stall. One of the guys kept trying to touch me in there. I hit him. She sounded awfully proud, waving a small fist in the air. Do you believe me, baby? I've been good. I promise, she said, seeming on the verge of tears. Yes, I believe you. She leaned back, grinning. I'm a good girl, on my birthday. She sat up again. Where is my friend? He brought me home. You left me. She pouted. I'm still here, Dana, I said. She turned her head slowly, furrowing her brow and squinting her eyes. So damn cute. Jack? This way. She grinned. He was nice. Didn't try to do anything. I showed him how I'd been hit with pillows. Her husband sighed. I'm still very unhappy with you, Dana. You promised to be home by 2 a.m. Then your friends call at 4 and say they'll have you home by 9. You show up at noon drunk, half dressed, and without a car. Worse than our honeymoon. She nodded. I told them. My hubby's waiting. Got hot, brought him home. I told them. They're nothing but trouble, she pouted. They're my best friends, Gary. They take care of me, make sure I don't get in trouble. I laughed, and Gary looked at me perplexed. At least Dana lifted her leg back into his lap for good measure. Maybe you should talk about it when she can remember, I said. He nodded. Have you had problems with your friends? Yes, 3 of them. One was sick with cancer. I made the mistake of demanding she give it up. Why the mistake? She didn't give it back. She just lied and covered it up, made it worse. She used to lie to me, and after that her friend hated me to the core. She's the one who set my little girl up. Set her up? Asked Gary. As Linda told it, she was caught in a bedroom with some guy, blind drunk, and she started flirting a bit, teasing, as she did when she was in that state. Another joined them, and the flirting got more and more prolonged. Someone was constantly touching her, stopping her from complaining, feeding her drinks. After they. Such details, YouTube forbids to insert in the video, so keep in mind that the full version without censorship and with voiceover is on our Patreon, and the link to it in the description. So-called best friend started bringing all the guys at the party to approach her. A few married ones too, at least 8 that we know of. What a fool, Gary said. I never lie to you, baby, Dana said, obviously paying at least partial attention to him. My friends wouldn't do that. They know I love you, and you're the only one for me. They care about me. Care. She sat up and crawled over to him. She wrapped her arms around her husband. Please don't take them away from me. I can barely see them as it is. Don't make it worse. She tried with all her appearance to show her displeasure. Please? For my birthday? She said the last phrase in a little girl's voice. I laughed again. She really likes to celebrate her birthday, doesn't she? He nodded, grinning. We both are. She's usually pretty good about it. Very good. You said I was the best. The best. He lifted her chin and kissed her. You are, sweetheart, the best in the world. She leaned her head on his shoulder. I'll make it up to you. You know that. Your birthday's in 2 months, even better than last year. He laughed out loud. I don't think that's even possible. Better. It's okay. I promise. She turned on her knees, sitting sideways to him, and looked at me across the short space. He's what? Asked Gary. I want to, for my birthday. You promised. I saw him blush. I thought we agreed about Derek, he said softly. No, you wanted Derek. I do, she said, extending her arm and pointing at me. Baby. You promised. You said stranger, not friend. No one from work. No assholes. You said that. I know, but why him? We don't even know him, Gary objected. I was on Dana's side. Unfortunately, it looked like he was getting somewhere with Derek. He's nice. Hasn't been rude to me. He hasn't taken advantage of me. She giggled. He looks just like you, without contact lenses, like twins. But Dana, we've already told Derek. We don't even know if Jack would want to do something like that. Ask him, she objected. I don't even want to see him. He's creepy. No, honey, it's too late to make a change now. She was a determined little drunk. You promised. I don't want Derek. I want my Jack. She began to persist. Don't you like your birthday present? I liked my birthday present, babe. But we have plans. No, Jack. No more special birthdays. She pouted, crossing her arms angrily. None. I'll cancel. I'll cancel. She pressed herself against him, grinning suddenly. You don't want me to cancel. It's the best thing in the world. She was good. I saw him hesitate. I had a feeling it could be a great night. Incredible, even. Okay, but you ask him, he said, looking down and avoiding my gaze. She squealed and hugged him tightly and kissed him. She stumbled, getting up from the couch, but managed to stay on her feet and walk over to me. She pulled up the bottom of her dress, smiling demurely. She was trying to be confident, and it was damn cute to see the intoxicated, sultry look fail. But that didn't make her any less confident. She did it very carefully, moving in front of me. She leaned closer, looking into my eyes. Do you want to do something, Jack? I can give you the gift I promised. And even more than that, anything you want. Can I have you as a birthday present? I was careful with a girl like this, and gently began to fulfill her fantasies. Nothing weird? I asked. No, varmint, she giggled. Both of you. Make me go crazy. This is my fantasy. And you chose me for this? She grinned. I like you. And you're just like my amazing hubby. Big, tall, and dark and handsome. I bet I won't even know which one is which. She wasn't lying, and it was all happening in real life. I'd love to be your gift, Dana, but are you sure you want to do it now? Are you up to it? You can hardly sleep. She grinned. I don't drink anymore. Maybe a little coffee to perk me up. I'll be on my best behavior. I promise. Don't you want to? She pouted. I'm not sure I've ever wanted anything more, I admitted. She looked over her shoulder at Gary. Coffee. Statuesque. She giggled. She chose me. She was so damn sure of herself. She could probably get any man she wanted. I bet she'd rejected dozens the day before, and she chose me, all because her husband looked like me. I was going to do everything I could to make sure she didn't regret it. I knew it was you, she whispered. My Jack. Let's take this holiday dinner somewhere else for now, I told her as I walked across the living room floor. I turned and sat back down on the couch. Gary came in from the kitchen. He sat down next to me and she climbed over him. Whoa, careful, he said, holding up her coffee and moving it out of the way. In his other hand, he held 2 bottles of beer by the neck. She didn't care. She wrapped her arms around him and spoke in a very sweet voice. I love you so much. Thank you. I promise you won't regret it. He held out her coffee, and I could see she was drinking it black. It looked strong. I had a personal opinion about this. The darker and stronger a woman liked her coffee, the more open she was about everything that was going on. Nothing scientific, just personal experience. I was eagerly awaiting another fact to confirm my special research. Gary handed me a beer and then raised his own for a toast. To my beautiful wife, on her birthday. I clung to his bottle. I'll drink to that. She's gorgeous. You're a lucky man. He grinned. It seemed as soon as he gave in, most of his worries disappeared. And you're the lucky one who's going to find out how lucky I am. Dana chuckled. I'm the happiest I've ever been. The best hubby and new boyfriend in the world. I sipped my beer, watching all of this. She seemed to be in heat. I decided that was a good thing. I felt Gary pat my shoulder and hold out his closed hand. I opened mine and he dropped something small into it. What's this? I asked. Endurance. We have a lot of work to do. I promised we'd wear her down. I'm not even sure that's possible. Dana leaned back, swaying slightly. She sipped her coffee, and I drank the medicine helpful. It wasn't the little pill I'd seen, and even used a couple times. Something different, but I didn't know enough about the various alternatives to recognize it. She handed the coffee cup to her husband, and turned to face me. So shall we start celebrating my birthday? My heart sank. Her face was beautiful. Damn it, slim waist, flawless skin. Does a cat have a tongue? She teased. You're fantastic, I said. And just for my hubby, my amazing, perfect hubby, Hant hubby, until now. You like it? I love. She pouted sweetly. No crush. You can like you, even super duper like you, but not fall in love. I only love my hubby, and he loves me. I'm super duper into it, I told her, smirking. Gary stepped away for a moment and returned, holding out a bottle of water to her. He took her hand and put some pills in it. I was a little surprised at his pharmaceutical approach. What? She asked, squinting and looking at her hand. Aspirin. I don't want you to have a headache in a few hours. She smiled and took them, drinking half the water. I was really thirsty. This is delicious. I felt weird. I wasn't going to take the first step to change that. Dana, for you, tonight, I'm ready. Never before, but for you, this is your special night, your birthday. What kind of gift would I be if I didn't take care of you? She turned to Gary, smirking. See? I told you so. My Jack will take care of me, just like you will. Derek will take care. I knew it. Jack gives, not takes. Gary's hand stroked her side. He's your gift. It's okay. I just felt awkward because we already told Derek. He was really looking forward to tonight. Yeah, sure. I actually felt sorry for the guy. I can only imagine how I'd feel if they changed their minds now. Better call him, Dana said. Yeah, while I was making you coffee. He's not happy, but I guess he'll have to live with it. She moved over to him. I've made peace with it. We'll make it up to him, okay? Not like tonight, but we'll work something out, right? He nodded. A little something. That's about it. Changing your mind won't get you 2-1. She chuckled. You don't need him. I'll do something for you. After all, you promised. Maybe give him a show. That's all there is to it. All I need is my awesome, awesome hubby and my Jack. I had to admit, She didn't look as drunk as she used to. I don't know what was to blame, the hour's sleep, the drink, the coffee, or the situation. She was still mixing up her words a bit and seemed a little out of it, but she looked and spoke better. She jumped to her feet abruptly. "I want to dance for my men." She walked over to the stereo and brought her face close to the CDs. Damn, I was going to hit her. Hard. "Why don't you put your contacts in, babe?" "I don't. I like the fluffy one. My two men are a little blurry. Might even want to wear a blindfold. Would you like that, hubby?" She was already starting to sway to the music. She was amazing. "Talk about me," she purred. "Like I wasn't even here. Like I don't matter." Gary laughed. "Have you ever seen anything like that?" I shook my head. "I can't say that I do. And you live with that 365 days a year? 366 in a leap year. Jealous?" "Hell yeah. I think I'm the second luckiest man in the world today." "Only second in luck?" He grinned. She moved closer, trying to get our attention. "You, sir, are certainly the luckiest of all. I swear I've never seen anyone more beautiful." He grinned. "Hell yeah, I'll drink to that." We toasted to our beers, and for a brief moment, I wondered where I should draw the line at drinking. I didn't want any performance issues to arise. Dana was so close that her feet were touching ours, adjusting her dance to each new song. "Honestly," Gary said, "do you think I should make some noise about those evil friends of hers?" I'm not good at giving advice, but I'd say no. I think she's loyal to you, don't you? He nodded. She had me worried. It was too much for Dana. "No, baby, I'll never do anything without you. Never. They know that." "You know the old saying, keep your friends close," I said. "And your enemies are closer." "I don't think they are really enemies, just troublemakers." "That's what you tell them. Let them know you appreciate their concern for her, but the way they dumped her is over the line. That's it. Don't be rude, but let them know they almost ruined everything. Don't push them away." Dana chuckled. "You really don't want to do this, sweetie. Alia hate it. It'll ruin your birthday present." She leaned over him, resting her hands on the back of the couch. "Everyone knows. You're the best. That's why they'll never hurt you. Never make things bad for us. Just for you." "What do you mean, just for me?" She chuckled. "That would be telling. You need to wait. Until your birthday." She moved toward me. "She did cross the line," Gary said, watching her closely. "Just a little bit, honey," she said over her shoulder. "I wasn't misbehaving. I was just late." "And drunk off her ass," he reminded her. She pouted sweetly. "I'm really sorry. It's really not my fault." "What do you think? She'll get away with it?" he said to me. "I think you punished her enough by scaring her to death in the parking lot." "She scared the hell out of me," he said, obviously still a little annoyed with her. "Then do what needs to be done. Let her know it will be worse next time, and her friends won't get away with it if they keep it up." Dana laughed. "Yes, you're completely right, Gary. They have themselves to blame, especially Carlu's." "And you're blameless?" she pouted. "Do you think this will be the best birthday ever?" He laughed. "That's right, isn't it?" She nodded. "Come here." She looked nervous. "You've been bad, Dana. Left me so worried. Stayed up all night. Barely slept at all. Not knowing what you were doing with those fools. Ran off in the parking lot." He slapped her cheek, and the crack of his hand was loud, making her cringe again. "Coming home with an abused wife? What was I supposed to think?" "I tried to stop them," she wheezed. 2 more quick, sharp blows. "Get up and get me the phone," he hissed. She looked worried as she ran to do what he demanded, with cute steps in high heels. A few minutes later, she returned. "Call Sherry." "Why?" "Don't ask questions. Take a stand and call her out." She pouted and dialed the number, then lay on his lap. Gary took the phone from her. He put it on speaker. "Dana?" a voice asked. "No, Cherie. It's Gary. Dana's under house arrest." "Don't be hard on her, Gary. She was good. I'm sorry we held her up a little longer." "The little one? She was supposed to be home by 2 o'clock. Then I was told, not asked, but specifically told that she would be home by 9 o'clock. What time did she show up, dead drunk, ruining all our plans for the day?" A little after noon, the voice replied. I want you two to be together, Cherie. I do. And you're making it hard, he said in a disgruntled voice, slapping his wife lightly. What was that? Asked Cherie nervously. She will be punished. Seriously. Next time she won't be the only one, do you understand? What are you doing to her? They're mad at me, Dana whined. Very much so. You guys shouldn't have hit me with pillows so hard. He got really mad. Thought I was showing off. Shit. We didn't mean to. That damn Carla. Don't hurt her, Gary. I'm really sorry. We all are. Is anyone else in your crowd still here? Yes. Yes. Jenny and Donna. Put it on speakerphone. Let them know it's their fault too. After a few seconds, we heard a multitude of voices. How many are there? Asked Gary. I don't know, Dana whimpered. Looks like I'm going to have to start over. 9, I said. Are you sure? He asked. 9. He wasn't that cruel to her, and she screamed like he was killing her. I think it was mostly a performance she was acting out for her phone audience. Stop it, Gary. You'll kill her, came one of the voices. Next time, follow the damn rules, he growled. I'm not asking for much. I'm letting her come out. I trust her, and I trusted you. But we had a deal. I made plans, and you ruined them all. On her fucking birthday. You know what birthdays mean to us, and you went and fucking ruined it. We didn't, did we? Asked Cherie. Didn't exactly ruin it. Please tell me we didn't. I wouldn't have stood for it. He finished the last couple strokes. No, not completely, but I'm not happy. Is that understood? Not ever again. You don't want her to have to find new friends, do you? Hell, I'm just now starting to get used to you girls, and I sure as hell don't want to have to make new company. Best friends don't do what you guys did. Donna cried like it was the end of the world. Are you done yet? Please, don't hurt her. We're sorry, asked Cherie nervously when the blows were no longer coming down. Halfway there. Our overnight guest must do his part. Derek? Dana sat up. The crying stopped abruptly. She waved her hand imperiously toward the phone. Gary handed it to her and she took it, turned off the speakerphone and spoke quietly as she walked away. She stopped in front of the full-length mirror by the door. Then we lost her in the kitchen. Too harsh? He asked. Not at all. I think it was masterful. I'm sure they understood what it was about. Everyone. Don't be too hard on her, okay? I wasn't. Not really. I don't know what all the yelling and whining was about. For her friends, showing off. Big strong hubby puts her in her place, trying to make them jealous. You think? I'd bet on it. Beer? He asked. I argued. Last one. He nodded. Me too. Take the pressure off a little, you know, but not enough to interfere with business. I asked him where the restroom was, and he pointed the way. When I returned, he was already back with his beer, and Dana was waiting patiently. She had already washed her face. Your turn, she said to me. Roll over. She looked at me nervously. I think your very indulgent husband took care of the ruddy cheeks. I wouldn't want you to be unhappy for the rest of the night. She smiled. Thank you. She smiled at her husband. Can I pick them out or what? You think that's what taking care of me is all about? You're doing great, honey. The first one was for extra convincing. I wasn't being rude. The first dozen were solid enough to jab and get her in the mood a bit. 2 more, sharper. 14, halfway through. She nodded silently. After that point, the fun part begins. I slapped her hard, making her jump and shriek. Please, Jack. You'll remember next time, won't you? I said, slapping her a second time, just as hard. Yes, she shrieked. I'll remember. I will. I leaned over and kissed her. Okay, I'm not going to hurt you. Promise? She asked nervously, her eyes watering. Cross my heart and hope to die. I swatted her hard enough for her to feel, but not painful. By the time I got to the last one, she was out of control. Another one, I teased. Hard or soft? Tough, and then you have to make sure it doesn't happen again. I laughed. Her breathing calmed, and I started again. Stop teasing me, damn you, Jack, I laughed, leaning into her face. God, I love this. Is it time to move on to another place? She turned to her husband. Make him stay with us all night. He only laughed at her. You chose him, remember? She pouted and turned to me again. You wouldn't leave me in the lurch? No, I'll take care of you. We both will, all night long. Now why don't you go to the bathroom? God, you're such a sneak. I'll get you for this. Yes, you'll get me, and get me, and get me, and get me. Damn, do you always torture women like this? No, that's Dana's specialty. No one else deserves it. You're the best, remember? And it's your birthday. We're doing the best we can. She pulled my head down and kissed me. Do you know how much I want to celebrate this birthday with you? She whispered. Oh, yes. And another thing. Go. Hurry up. Promise? She said, smirking. Let's go. I watched the birthday girl wander down the hallway, preparing to meet us. Honestly, I was still catching myself thinking. I couldn't believe my luck. I was supposed to be her birthday present. Shit. Her husband and I headed to the bedroom, and I could see that Gary was a little nervous. I decided it would be a good idea to calm him down, if at all possible. Have you guys ever done anything like this before? I asked. He shook his head. No, first time. How about you? Me too. Look, Gary, I don't want to cause trouble. If I do something you don't like, something that makes you feel uncomfortable, call me out. If you need me to stop or even leave, just tell me, okay? He nodded, then smiled. That's not really going to work. Why? I'll be honest. I'm not comfortable with all of this. I would never share it with her, but she really wants me to. I guess I'll have to accept it. It's her birthday. I know. I understand. A birthday is a big event for the two of you. You have no idea. Our birthdays are special. It's when we met, when we got engaged, our first time. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm going to do whatever it takes once a year to give her everything she could ask for on that day. He grinned. I shouldn't complain. She always found a way to make my birthday incredible. I mean, really incredible. He started to undress, and I took off my shoes. I'm jealous. I wish I had what you two have. I was close to it once, but I blew it. I think we both messed it up. She got stupidly drunk and chose bad friends. I couldn't forgive or accept the humiliation. I wish things had worked out differently. I'm sorry to hear that. Believe me, I know I'm doing fine. She's the best. He looked at me, still dressed. Are you going to take your clothes off? I think she can do it herself. I remembered something and pulled out my wallet. I want you to know that I'm clean. Got tested after my last relationship, and that was over 2 months ago. I held out my disease-free card to him. He examined the card. Do you carry something like that with you? I nodded. A lot of single people do. The game isn't worth risking your life for. If my partner doesn't have one, it's not an option. He held it back out. Do you trust us if I tell you we're clean? Never been with anyone else? I think that's already obvious. Yes, I trust you. Good. He grinned. How do you want to do this? I put my hands up in a sign of surrender. It's up to you guys. I'm happy to be a guest, but I'll let you two run this ship. Do you want to help me with the bed? He asked, pulling off the covers. Sure. What do you need? He walked to the closet and came out of there with a blanket and another sheet. We put them down. We spread out the blanket and covered it with a sheet, just in time. His wife came out. Her hair was in a ponytail. Her makeup was exquisite. I don't know if I've ever seen anything more beautiful in my life. Are my boys ready? She purred, leaning against the door jamb. Is this yours? I turned and asked Gary. All mine, and yours from now on. Damn, it feels like it's my birthday. I turned to face Dana. You're gorgeous, birthday girl. She grinned, then walked over to me and pouted. Why is my present still wrapped? Do you want someone else to unwrap your gift? I asked. Her grin grew even wider. No, it's mine. I have to unwrap it, right? Of course, I said. She turned and smiled at her husband. Nice birthday present, isn't it? Gary nodded. You picked well, babe. God gave it to me. Found him and gave him to me on my birthday. Gave me Jack. All yours, beautiful, I said softly. I'll give it to you. Chapter 2. Mine, she whispered. I stepped out of them and stood in front of her, feeling the aching hardness. Is it a big surprise? She asked. I guess that's your choice, I said. The surprise is not small. Can I open it? He's all yours, baby. All yours. She turned her head and leaned her cheek against him. I want to wait a little longer. I have to take care of my amazing husband first, okay? Whatever you want will be fine, I assured her, stroking her soft hair. She stood there, swaying for a second, then grabbed me and pulled me. This way, Jack. My Jack. I want you to see how perfect my man is. He knows me, knows how to drive me crazy. You have to see. I chuckled. You're determined to drive me crazy, aren't you? She climbed onto the bed and kept pulling me with her until I sat down next to her. I'm going to drive you crazy, and then you and hubby will do the same for me. Thank you for choosing me, Dana. It's not even my birthday, and this is without a doubt the best gift anyone has ever given me. Thank you. She grinned, and then her smile turned upside down. That's the best part? We haven't even done anything. If I walked out the door right now, it would still be the best gift I've ever gotten in my life. She pouted sweetly. That's sad. I don't want to be sad, Jack. Tell me it's not true. You should never be sad. Of course that's not true, but it's still a great gift. She stared at me intently. But it's true, isn't it? I hugged her, feeling my eyes moisten. No, of course you don't. I want you to be happy. You deserve the best birthday in the world, Dana. Be happy for me. It'll be the nicest present ever. She pulled away, and I saw the glint in her eyes. Better than this? She asked. Okay, you got me. Nothing could be better than this. Look at me, Jack, she said. Thank you for my birthday, honey, for letting me go out with my friends, for forgiving me when I misbehaved, coming home late, for trusting me. She leaned over and kissed him. Thank you for letting me have the gift of Jack. It was like a scene, with catnip and the world's cutest purring cat. It felt good. I was a little nervous. I'm a guy. I admit it. It can't be helped, you know. I'm gonna pull this situation today. I lay down next to Gary, our heads only a foot or so apart. God, it would be so easy to hate you right now, I teased. He smiled. I know, man. I can't believe it myself sometimes. I'm so unworthy. But then I realize what the hell, no one's worthy, and I'm good for her. She lifted her head and grinned. Best of all, the hubby, never. Talk about me, I love it, she spoke without flinching. Does she do this for you often? I asked. All the time, she's amazing. Bastard, you have to stop saying things like that to me. Lying to me, okay? You have this every day? A few times a week. At least once a month she meets me at the door, kneeling when I get home from work. Won't let me in until I pay my fare. Why? Why would you say something like that to me? I will never enter my house again without thinking about what I'm losing. Shit, you're a good guy. You'll have your own Dana someday. Don't settle. I laughed. No matter what, after I see this, anything I can get will be acceptable to me. That's just incredible. You could see that she was getting to him, and it was getting harder for him to speak. He didn't answer for a few seconds. The best. She's the best. Show him what you can do, her husband said. She nodded. I can't believe you can last this long with this. I'll be lucky if I last more than a minute or two. No man could last that. Gary grinned. I have a lot of practice. Bastard. Reminds me again. Have you ever heard of noblesse obligée? Damn royalty is supposed to treat us commoners well. Not because we deserve it, but because you can. Don't rub it in. Soon, he moaned. He grunted, calling out her name. Good God, that's amazing. Beautiful and talented. Damn trifecta, I muttered. A couple seconds passed. That's it, sweetie. Thank you for my birthday present. You're the best, baby. She grinned and kissed him. You want to open your present, don't you? She nodded shyly. But I don't need to. You're spoiling me. I don't want to upset you. If it bothers you, please tell me. I never want to hurt you. Of course, you can imagine the answer I prayed fervently for. I want to see it. If I can't take it, I'll let you know, okay? She nodded and hugged him. Thank you, thank you. I promise I will never regret this. You spoil me, and you know how much I'll spoil you." "I know." She kissed him and then reached up and pushed me. "It's your turn, Jack. Did you enjoy my show?" "Unbelievable. It's even better when it happens to you. Tell me you want the same gift. I've never wanted anything so badly in my life." "Would you like a silk bow?" "I'm dying for it. I've never, ever seen anything like this. You're amazing." She grinned. "I'm going to start right now. Talk to me. Tell me what you like." She gently began to open her gift. "Tell me, or I'll stop," she warned. "Don't stop. Please, God, don't stop, Dana. Every one of those little touches burns my soul. Everywhere you touch is like a blow to my nervous system," I said. "Damn, girl," she giggled. "Such gentle hands," I whispered. "How the hell can you make your gift burn like that?" "So incredibly beautiful. Do you have any idea, Dana? What it's like for a guy like me to see someone as gorgeous as you open your gift. Do you understand? It's like if I won the lottery, only better. All the money in the world can't buy you." She looked up at me, those big blue eyes promising miracles. She stopped, propped up on her hands. "No, Jack, I don't understand, but I know a lot of things. A guy like you? Only guys like you and my hubby deserve it. I know that. You're one of the good ones. You deserve everything I'm going to give you and more, so don't think anything bad about it." I grinned. "Dana, Angel, there isn't a man in the world who deserves you. Tell me otherwise and I don't know what I'll do with myself. I don't deserve you, but I'm damn sure going to enjoy every moment of it anyway. Give me a chance, and I'll make this a birthday you'll never forget. Promise? Cross my heart." "Good," she said, smirking. She squinted her eyes and grinned. "That's a great gift. Very nice." I received the same treatment as her husband. She looked up at me. "Talk to me." "Please, I can't. It's too much. I can barely think." She chuckled, then looked at her husband. "You're talking to me. You asked me to do this. Tell me." He smiled at her. "Unbelievable. It's hard. You look so beautiful, so graceful. I can't help but be jealous. She should be mine. Only mine. Shouldn't she?" She nodded, and I saw a glimmer of joy in her eyes. "Your gift is bigger, isn't it?" "Just a little more, honey. Just a little more." "Really?" She nodded shyly. "A little." "Do you think the sensation will be different?" he asked. "I don't know. Maybe." "You're hoping for that, aren't you?" She looked up at me. "I want gifts like that. Is that bad?" "You want to be our little gift this evening, don't you?" She blushed. "I'm always your gift." "No. Today you will be our gift. We'll wear you out. You will be our little gift." Many moments and words from these scenes are not included in this voiceover, but included in the voiceover on our Patreon. So subscribe to it and listen to the full version without censorship. The link in the description. "Anything, she gasped. Gary stood up, climbing off the bed. I lowered myself down so I wouldn't get in the way. "I'm going to open this little gift. You're such a little girl. You needed another present, didn't you?" she whimpered. "Take care of this hottie. I bet there were a lot of strangers here last night, weren't there, my gift?" She pulled away from me, whimpering. "No, sweetheart. Never. Just you. From the very first date we had, it was just you. You wanted this, didn't you? Teasing all of them." She shook her head, snuggling against him again. "Never. I like to tease, but I don't want to. Never and never anyone but my hubby." "Your hubby and Jack. You just had to get Jack, didn't you, beautiful?" She looked up at me. "My fantasy. He's just like you. It's like getting you in a package twice." "You didn't want Derek as a present?" "No, nothing like you. I was going to do it because you wanted me to. I'd do anything for you." "You should have told me. I thought you liked him. You said you wanted a different present for your birthday." She sighed. "There are two of you. I told you. He's fine. Not my fantasy." "And Jack?" She looked up at me and grinned. "Oh yes, very much so." He slowed his pace, and she focused on me. "God," I said. "So fucking good. So perfect." I saw Gary grin when I said that. "Our perfect one. She wants to be our gift. She's going to be her. We'll shake the shit out of her. Take it all, Dana. Show me you can do it, I told her, stroking her hair. She whimpered softly, then thrust hard. Fuck, said I. Everything? Asked Gary. She took everything? Every bit of it, I gasped as she proved she could do it over and over again. Amazing, huh? He said, smirking. Awesome. She pulled herself up, her hand on me. Finish this thing, Jack. Make me do it. Unbelievable. I'm coming for you, I moaned. Dude, shut her up. She looked up at me, her arms twisted. She seemed to want to push away, but she was holding back, resisting. Her eyes were pleading, and I saw them start to roll upward. I let her go. She looked at me, and I thought I saw a flicker of fear in her eyes. Again? She asked. I nodded. She did it on her own, all the way to the end. She stared at me, unwilling to give up. Her eyelids began to twitch, her face flushed. I couldn't believe how long she could take it. Her hands clenched into fists, her knuckles turning white, and she stepped away from the case. Almost, I said. One more. She nodded. This time she didn't stop. The nasty sounds that were driving me crazy started. Shit, I exclaimed, unable to hold back any longer. She hadn't left a speck of dust on me, just as she'd promised in the store just a few hours ago. She closed her eyes, smiling, resting her head on me. Did she do it? He asked. I nodded. It doesn't get any better than that. The smile on her face grew even wider. Show me, her husband demanded. She turned around and lay perpendicular to me, resting her head on my stomach. She tilted her head upward. You liked it, didn't you? He growled. I liked everything. Everything, she said proudly. Make him tense up. Now he's going to open that box. She leaned in. Are you sure? This is your last chance to stop it. It's not too late. Once he starts opening his present, I won't let him leave until you guys wear me out. Do it, Dana. She turned around on the bed. I needed no further invitation, so I started. No doubt about it, I was the second happiest person. I'm not saying I'm an expert or anything. I'm very good at it. I was always very open to guidance when it came to this and took the lessons to heart. Truth be told, most of the time I enjoyed it. There were a few women I didn't really like, but I hung in there. But that wasn't the case. I think I did a pretty good job of it. I got her to complete all her chores in just a few minutes. Yeah, I felt proud. I felt a little weird when Gary climbed on top of me. I had to hand it to him. He wasn't a jerk. Do you mind? He asked, half climbing on top of my head. I guess so, but it wasn't fair. Hell, he was sharing a goddess with me. It's a little weird for me, but go on, I said. I put my head down. She'd done her job. I was ready. Now I wanted what he wanted. Damn, I needed her so badly. I had to wait a couple more minutes for him to finish. In a moment, she was in front of me. Do you want this present? She asked teasingly. Ask me nicely and I might ask, she teased tokenistically. Do whatever you want to me, little teasing gift, or I will, and shake you out of all your sins. She grinned. Has anyone ever told you you're great with words, Jack, honey? Indescribable, impossible to put into words. The best feeling of my life was seeing this gorgeous woman. She was still grinning stupidly. I think you like me, Jack. Gary, do me a favor? Make her shut up. He laughed, standing up on the bed next to her. Just what you wanted, right, baby? Two at once. How do you like your present? He asked, waiting. Perfect. Just what I wanted. Thank you, sweetie. You know how to thank me, he said, pulling her to him. It was great. She kept me in suspense, letting me feel all this joy in the moment. It felt wonderful, like I could go on indefinitely. Eventually, he pulled away. That's enough. I don't want to yet. She put her hands on me. Do you like all the conditions we have? She asked, breathing heavily. Perfect, like everything about you. Tight? What do you think? She grinned. Perfect is a good word. She slid her hands up to my head. She lowered herself down, her head next to mine, and she began to shiver. Going to end this night beautiful? She whimpered, panting. Now, yes. I didn't notice Gary standing next to the bed, watching what was happening. I saw that he had his camera out and was filming. You have it. That's good. She didn't scream or yell or anything like that. Just a delightful series of sighs. It was too good. I was getting close, and damn it, I was about to call it a day. I looked up at Gary. Will you do whatever you need to do with her for me? I need a break. Damn, that was really strong, she whispered. Okay? That's amazing. Are you going to do that to me some more? She whispered. Needed a break. Didn't want to come in yet. I want you to finish what you started, Jack. Her words were soft as satin and meant for me alone. Oh, you are, I teased. I don't know. She kissed me. He wants it, sweetheart. It's going to be awkward for him, but he really wants it. Now I'm going to open my present for real, I told her. I can't wait. She propped herself up on her arms and reached back, stopping Gary. I need to move, she explained. She turned around. It was only a few seconds before I was ready to leave. It was amazing. I pulled myself up for a second, wrapping my arms around her. Fucking Gary was walking around with a camera, taking close-ups of her face and filming everything that was going on. Jack, let me take a picture, he said. Fuck, the director. But it was his gift nonetheless. I gave him a great shot for a long time. She was really enjoying it, and I could see the look in her eyes closed. She's coming, I announced. God, that's so sweet. A big one, I whispered in her ear. I want a big one. Strong and fast, she whispered. The best, I growled, doing my best to give her what she needed. That's it, Gary said simply, bringing the camera closer to her face. Perfect. Stupid, I whispered. She whimpered, her hand reaching for me. I felt it start. She shrieked. So damn beautiful, and for the moment, mine. All mine. You got it, man. Gary climbed onto the bed. She gasped, and for a few seconds her body collapsed. Then she tensed again. Oh my God, oh my God. I let go of her arms and placed my palms on her head, turning her to face me, her eyes searching for me. I'm coming for you, I told her. She whimpered, and I winced for a moment, catching my breath. Come on, baby, come to me, Jack, she begged. I couldn't hold back a second longer. Unintelligible sounds escaped my lips as I slid down. I saw her smiling, eyes half closed. She reached down, and I heard Gary groan. She looked up at me and then pointed downward with a crooked finger. I lay down next to her, and she turned to face me, reached for my head, and pulled me to her. She kissed me. Perfect, she whispered. Don't say anything, okay? Of course not. She grinned. I want you as a gift for something else. Will you do that for me? I chuckled. I'd love to do that for you. Afterward, she whispered. I'll do him next, okay? Whatever you need, Dana. It's your birthday. Her smile lit up the room. I know. It doesn't get any better than this. Thank you. She kissed me gently. Will you give us a minute? Let's have a drink. I kissed her back, then got up and went into the kitchen. I took some juice and drank it, then chugged a large glass of water. I relaxed, telling myself that I would give them 10 minutes. I looked around, looking at their pictures. A big wedding picture in the dining room, some vacation shots, another wedding photo of her and 6 other women. I guess I was looking at most of the crowd that got her in trouble. Good company, but without a doubt she was the best. She was stunning in all the pictures, incredibly photogenic, smile made for the camera, and mine for one night. I filled 2 large glasses with water and went back to the bedroom. She beckoned me over to her. Still? I asked softly, offering her water. Pillows, she said, lifting her body, and I placed a couple pillows behind her. Gary didn't slow her step for a second. She took the water, drank half of it, and handed it to me. I set it on the nightstand and lay down next to her. She winked at me. Again, she whispered. He had his turn. She reached up and brushed my hair back. Are you okay? I'm in heaven. I loved her smile. Can you be a gift to me again? No doubt about it. Then what are you waiting for? Come here. Can you turn around a little? Extend your leg back? Asked Gary. Gary and his camera. I threw my leg back. Look at me, baby, he said. She gave him what he wanted by putting on a show. The position was wrong for something more. "That's it. Hold it here," he said. I gave it 10 seconds or so and then pulled out, leaving her. I backed away and he followed me with the camera. "What are you going to do with it?" "We'll think about it." She rolled over to me. "See, Gary? There's nothing wrong with little gifts," she told her husband. "He doesn't mind either. I have the best men in the world." She wasn't, as far as I could tell. Looks like hubby took good care of her. Honestly, I didn't even think about it. It was just that she looked so damn good that I just had to try. God, that looked good. Jerry put the camera on the dresser and stared at it, then walked over to the nightstand and retrieved the bottle. He opened it and tipped it over her. He held the bottle over my finger, pouring out some more. He looked back at the camera, then stood up and walked to the other side of us. "Are you sure, babe?" Gary leaned toward her and spoke softly. "I need it, honey," she said. He didn't say a word. "Make it a wonderful gift," I told him. He looked at me with confidence, and we began. He almost ran for the camera as I leisurely made my way over. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Damn good," she said. Gary was getting more intrusive by the moment. He shoved the camera almost between us. He stepped back to get a wide view, and then moved lower to get a shot of her face. She was talking to him, but I couldn't hear what she was saying. I got the gist of it. I decided to help him. "Is everything still okay?" I asked. She broke away from her conversation with her husband. "Jack, come on. Do whatever you have to do." "That's fine. No more Mr. Nice Guy." She seemed to like it. "Shit," she said. I almost laughed when Gary's hand appeared above her, holding the camera and waving it around. I took it from him and filmed her red cheeks. A few minutes of this, and suddenly she pulled away. "Lie down for me," she said, patting the pillows above her head. I leaned back on the pillows. She'd done something. "How was it?" she asked her husband. He was kneeling in front of us, filming the whole thing. "Perfect." She felt amazing. She turned her face to me and smiled. "God, you're everything I've ever dreamed of. It's all so beautiful," she whispered before kissing me. She turned to me again. "Now, baby, I need my hubby." He grinned mischievously. Big fantasy of hers. I couldn't tell if she was enjoying it or if we were hurting her. She was moaning, mooing, almost sobbing. Finally, she pushed her husband away. "Get me a washcloth," she told him, put her feet down on the bed, and sat down. A few seconds later, he returned. She took the washcloth and wiped me off. When she was satisfied with the result, she pulled me a short distance down the bed and lay down. Her lips touched my ear. I had to switch. "You're too big a gift. Whatever you need, birthday girl." She kissed me tenderly. Then she turned to her husband. "Come on, little one. It's your turn to be that little gift." She lifted her face above mine, smiling, then closed her eyes and laid her head next to mine. "As good as in your fantasies?" I asked. "Better. It's unbelievable. I feel so complete. I love it." I kissed her sweet face. "Will you follow us?" She shook her head. "I don't think so. It's wild, but a little uncomfortable. Every time it feels good, something hurts and I pull away." "Do you want us to stop?" "God, no. I want this. I want to remember it forever." We stopped talking. "I'll wrap things up soon," he groaned after a couple minutes. I doubted I would ever have a better time in my life. "Oh my God, Jack. You're so cool." "I love looking at you, Dana. So damn beautiful," she gasped. "Tell me that for your birthday you'll make me yours." "Best moment ever," I whispered, staring at her for a long moment. "Unbelievable. This can't just be a one-time thing, Angel. I won't let it. I have to have you again." She whimpered. "I love my hubby." "Love him all you want," I growled. "You will be my bull. Always." She whimpered, and a shiver hit her. I heard Gary's voice from the edge of the bed where he was filming. "How good you are. Do you want more gifts like that?" I whispered. "I always want to." "Earn it. You can do better than that." She was determined. "Give it to me, Jack. It's mine. I deserve it," she gasped, looking up at me. "Prove it," I teased, knowing she was already keeping me in suspense. I tried to hold back. I didn't want this to end. You're good," I said. "The best. The best you'll ever have," she demanded. I pulled her down hard and gave in. Yes, she practically shouted. She laughed, her joy contagious. All signs of her former intoxication seemed long gone. My heart returned to my chest. That was great, she giggled, then asked, "Which one of my men will take care of me? You'll do that, won't you, Jack?" "Anything you want, beautiful." I started to move toward her, but she held out her hand, stopping me. "The hubby chooses for himself," she teased. She propped herself up on her elbows, turning to face her husband, who moved again with the camera. "Are you going to let him take what's yours, baby?" He returned to her touch, clearly engrossed. "You're going to let him wash the present? Take the last thing that belongs only to you?" she whispered. "I've never let anyone else do that." She looked at me and winked. Damn mean girl, she'd figured him out. "I need some time," I told her quietly. She chuckled. "I don't really care. I just want to play with my wonderful new toy. May I, Jack?" "As much as you like." It was a lot. I realized that she probably hadn't eaten all day. I looked at the clock. It was already 8 o'clock in the evening. We'd been opening presents for hours. Gary lay down on the other side of her. "Enjoying your birthday?" She turned and hugged him. "It doesn't get any better than this. God, I love you so much, Gary. Best hubby in the world. The best wife in the world," he said. She leaned against me, pulling my hand up. "Is everything okay? That wasn't too much?" He blushed. "No, it was good," she chuckled. "You liked it, didn't you? You were beautiful." She reached out and lovingly stroked his face. "I'm so sorry about yesterday. It will never happen again, I promise. God, I don't think I've ever been so drunk." He laughed. "Holy shit, I've never seen you like this before." "Will you help me get even with them?" He looked confused. "How?" "On your birthday. I'm not going to give away secrets, but then we'll have a chance. Will you help me?" He leaned forward and kissed her. "Could I ever say no to you?" said Gary. "No, but I don't want you to start now," she giggled. A few small adjustments, and I was able to do an acceptable job. I don't know what that pill Gary gave me was, but it seemed to be doing its job. "You really are a little gift, aren't you?" he whispered. "Just for you, sweetheart." She kissed him again. "I'm really starving. I could use some breakfast." "IHOP?" asked Gary. "What about you, Jack?" asked Dana. "Gotta eat something. I'm sure my groceries have gone bad." She gasped, then giggled. "You seem to really like me. You could put your stuff in our refrigerator," she said. "I guess I got distracted. Anyway, it's no big deal. You're kind of worth it, and it's your birthday. IHOP is good for me." She stretched. "God, this is beautiful. I could stay like this forever between my beautiful, loving men. I feel so spoiled." Gary smiled at her, stroking her cheek. "No one deserves it more than you, birthday girl." She turned her head, addressing me. "Shall we save that thought for later?" She pulled back teasingly. "Whatever you need, Dana. Quick shower, then we'll eat." It was funny, the three of us playing, and she was fighting us off, demanding to be fed. I kept thinking about Gary, whether I could handle the situation the way he did, accepting her fantasies so easily. He really didn't seem to have heartburn from sharing her with me. I was having a great time, teasing, joking, talking about our lives, our past. Dana made sure that every single thing she did was as enjoyable as possible. She looked up at me and grinned, raising one eyebrow. "Naughty boy," she teased, stroking me. When the waitress brought a cake with a candle, and everyone sang happy birthday greetings, she glowed with happiness. Immediately afterward, she turned to her husband. "Pay the bill. Take me home. Now." In the parking lot, she pulled me into the back seat and started doing something lewd before we even pulled into the street. "God," she gasped. I looked at Gary watching us in the rearview mirror. "You were teasing her, weren't you, Gary?" He chuckled. "She decided not to wear something. I didn't. Had to give her my napkin. Fine. You teased the shit out of her, and I have to deal with the consequences. The birthday girl gets what she wants. Deal with it." He laughed. She looked up at me and grinned. "Is it really that awful?" she whispered. I pulled her to me and kissed her. "What do you think?" she smiled. I think you figured out my birthday game. A shower and a break was exactly what I needed. As I started to approach her, I called out to Gary, and he took my place. I pulled out his camera and handed it to him. Fire it up. He grinned, prepared it, and handed it to me. I took everything off and sang her birthday song. It's your birthday today, beautiful Dana, I said, sitting down on the couch under her face. Time to blow out the candle. After a little while, Gary looked at me. Swapped? Gary and I laughed, cheered each other on, drank beer. Sometimes whoever was on deck played with the knee. You have to finish her off, Gary gasped. I'm too close. Gary encouraged me by giving me a high five. She grabbed his leg pleadingly. Too much. Too sensitive. He laughed. We're going to celebrate your birthday until we get tired or bored. Behind all his words, I could see he was checking her out, gesturing a couple times for me to go easy. I saw him finally smile as she climbed the peak again, yelling at us. He sat up and put his arm around her. Happy, baby? She cried, nodding her head. I'm so happy. We're not done with you yet, he said. Let's go. He got up and went into the bedroom. She tried to follow and almost fell. I picked her up in my arms. Party time, I teased. We started right where we left off. It was amazing, we continued, wondering how long we could keep this up. Gary looked up at me, embarrassed. It's okay, I told him. She's too damn good to hold her own. You and I both know that. It's a wonder either of us have lasted as long as we have. He nodded. Holy shit. It seemed like he couldn't take it anymore, but we kept changing. Then she asked me for something. I kissed her gently. Anything for the birthday girl. She tried, giving me her best. Come to me, Jack? She asked sweetly. My bull. I'm getting close, Angel. Do it for me, please. I'll make it worth your while. Magic words. I whispered in her ear. I'm already there. God, Jack, you're the best, she whispered. She let go of me. All yours, Gary, I said. When I pulled away, needing some real rest, I lay down next to her. How's that for a surprise, dear hubby? She teased. He stood up, grinning. You're a mean little girl. He looked at me. You could have given me a hint. Dude, I can't say no to her. Can you? He laughed. Not in this life. She giggled. She turned to me. Give me my phone, honey. It's in my purse in the living room. You remember the living room, don't you, Jack? I left quickly, like a good boy. I drank a quart of water before returning. I climbed onto the bed and held out my phone to her. We cuddled, and she called her friends, chatting, bragging. God, I have no idea how many times I've come. Dozens, she said. Yeah, nonstop since last call, except for dinner. Absolutely destroyed me. Unbelievable. She giggled and pushed Gary away. I need a picture of the two of you. What the hell? I didn't have a problem. She took a couple pictures and kissed us. God, I'm so lucky. You guys really are the best. The best deserves the best, birthday girl, I told her. She played with her phone, then spoke again. Just for us, okay? No one outside of our group. Okay, call me back afterward. If I'm busy, I'll call you back later. She leaned back on the headboard and stretched. I need a massage. She got it from both of us, and by the time we were done, the sheets were so dirty that we all agreed they needed to be changed. Gary and I tore off the old ones, put another blanket and sheet on in case we weren't done for the night, and joined Dana for another shower. She smiled at me. How about another one? I'd like that. You're going to have to be gentle. I mean it. When her phone rang, she waved to her husband, and he found it and handed it to her. She chuckled, still going strong. Yep, lying here between my men, feeling good. No madness, not right now. It's just because, love is in the embrace. Absolutely. The best. I disconnected from her, leaning back and focusing on the sensations. I reviewed the day in my mind, wondering what I'd done to get so damn lucky. Twice during the night, I woke up to further realize my location. Tell me this will never end, she whispered. Never, I promised. I love my hubby. I'm sorry. You can still love your hubby better than anyone. Promise? Can he be the first? Will you still be my bull? Always. He's your husband. I understand. Really? It's important, Jack. Shh, it's okay. You're his. But I could be yours too, couldn't I? Yes, I can share. God, I love you. You're so good. I love you too, Dana. I'll never let you go. You'll never have to. You're my bull. I love my hubby, but everything else is yours. All mine, I whispered. She purred contentedly. I wondered how long it would be before I was cast aside. I had no doubt that our words from the night before were just words. I would have kept her if I could, but she wasn't mine. In truth, I hardly knew her. She was beautiful and incredible, but that was all she was. She stroked my cheek. You're worried. I nodded. I wish it would never end. She pulled me to her and gave me a quick kiss. It won't. Let me handle this. I just need some time. You don't have to ruin it for me, I told her. She smiled. See, it's that kind of attitude that ensures this won't end. I was still savoring the moment when Gary walked in a suit. Excuse me, kids. I have to go to work. I glanced at the clock and saw that it was almost 8 in the morning. I sighed. Shit. Me too. Gotta go. He sat down on the bed next to us. Jack, I just wanted to say thank you. You did everything perfect for her, and probably for me too. Thank you. I started to get off, but he pushed me back down. One last time for her. She deserves it. I hope we can be friends after this. I'd like that. He grinned. You bet. I don't know if it'll ever happen again. I don't want to say it won't. I just need time to deal with it, you know? Of course. Best thing that's ever happened to me. I appreciate it. He grinned and stood up. She's the best, isn't she? Sure. I turned to her. Call me later, babe. Dana called out as he left us. She looked up at me. Do you really have to go? I wish I didn't have to do this. Soon. She nodded. Thank you. Leave your number and address. We need to stay in touch. After that, she dressed me, making sure I wrote down my information, and walked me to the door. On the threshold, she kissed me. Best night of my life, Jack. You'll still be my Jack, won't you? Always, Dana. Thank you. Did you have fun? I pulled her to me and kissed her. I lost my heart last night. She looked up at me and I saw tears in her eyes. I'm married. I love my husband more than anything in the world. I know. It was a beautiful fantasy. My fantasy. You realize? Shh. Don't. Let me trust you, okay? She nodded, hugging me. My Jack. My birthday. It's been 4 months, 3 weeks and 1 day since that night. I've seen them. We both live in the same neighborhood. A friendly hello at a restaurant. A lingering glance in the grocery store where we met. A wave across 2 pumps at a gas station. That's it. No calls, no letters, no visits. Nothing. God, I wish I'd never met them. I'm spoiled. Spoiled for every other woman. I did everything, but it wasn't her. The loneliest day of my life. I don't know what's wrong with me, that I don't have more friends or someone important in my life. I'm sitting here alone, sipping a beer that has gotten lukewarm, remembering someone else's birthday, wondering what surprise Gary had in store for his birthday. I was thinking about going outside, hitting a bar, maybe go to a strip club. I could hire an escort, pay to have some fun with a girl. I thought about driving a mile, knocking on the door, and reminding her it was my birthday. 30 years. Big 30. Good job, nice house, new car, and no one to share it with. He said I would find my own version of her. I don't think so. I'm not suicidal, and I'm not crazy. Just a little disappointed in the way life works out sometimes, frustrated and lonely. Pathetic, I know. I pour my shiner down the sink. I'm not so far gone that I'm sitting here in the dark, crying into my beer. So, it's my fucking birthday. So what? Just another day on the calendar. I've survived the previous 29. This one is less than an hour and a half away. Turning off the kitchen light, I hear the doorbell ring. My heart is racing. Maybe, just maybe, I know how important birthdays are to the two of them. How sad she was to hear that our foreplay was better than any gift I've ever gotten. I can almost smell her. Maybe they remember. I open the door and stare at her stunned. After all this time, I can tell she's nervous, her hands shaking. She holds out the card to me before I can say anything. Happy birthday, Jack. You gave me the best birthday present ever. I hope I can return the favor. Always with love, Dana. I look at her, her outline blurring. I wipe my eyes and see that she's shivering and waiting. Here, on my birthday. What kind of asshole do I have to be to leave her here? Come in, please. It's been a long time. You look more beautiful than ever. She smiles, and then finds herself in my arms. I can't help myself and hug her back. It's so familiar. Like we've never been apart. The feel of her, the smell of her hair. I squeeze her even tighter. Happy birthday, Jack. Sorry I'm a little late, she whispers. Better late than never, Linda. Much better. Hey, yes, I love that touching ending too. I almost shed a tear at one point, but held back like a real man. And I understand your indignation that a lot of moments cut and veiled with other words, but I cannot do anything with YouTube, which will simply delete this video if there are original phrases in it. So once again, I will conduct a promotional integration with my Patreon, where from the very first part is this story, and waiting for you without any censorship and with my personal voiceover. It is important to note from the story that swinging is the choice of each individual couple, and not all people find such relationships acceptable. The key is for all participants to agree and respect their personal preferences and boundaries. From a psychological point of view, the desire for variety in sexual life and relationships is a natural manifestation of human sexuality. Routine and monotony can cause deterioration of relationships, and swinging can be an attempt to diversify human family life. I would further emphasize that openness to discussion and honest sharing of emotions is important to maintaining a healthy relationship. Partners must be willing to constantly dialogue and adapt in order to participate in swinging with respect for themselves and each other. Basically, that's all I wanted to convey to you. And if you're still listening to this, first of all, thank you. And second of all, be sure to put your awesome like and subscribe so you don't miss out on new interesting stories.